So I didn't really plan on making an entire reference sheet for this character I drew in the last speed paint, my Light Fury replacement / reworked character, and also just my OC now, Ghostwaker, but I was hit with a blast of Night Fury fever. If you haven't watched my previous video, I definitely recommend watching it before this one because I don't really want to repeat all the lore stuff again for those who have seen it. I'll go over like basic context stuff so you're not completely lost, but still, I do recommend watching it. There's a lot of stuff I go over in that, what I change about actually all 3 movies, and then of course I talk about Ghostwaker as a character. So just to give you the quick context, Ghostwaker is initially the villain of How to Train Your Dragon 3 and belongs to Grimmel. She's his dragon, who he took in as a hatchling, and she helps him with his sick and twisted dragon hunting hobbies, which includes hunting other Night Furies. So to start off with this video, I'm actually doing 2 reference sheets. The first one is Toothless, and the second one will be Ghostwaker. The reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to make Ghostwaker look more obviously unique from Toothless, besides her just being like white. The last drawing I did of her was definitely supposed to have different shapes than Toothless, but that's hard to see without a comparison in my own style. So to do that, I had to study how Toothless looked first. So therefore, I'm making a reference sheet for him so you guys can also see the difference more clearly. It was honestly just kind of fun. I was just having a lot of fun sort of like studying how Toothless looks and then trying to make Night Furies that look really unique. I made more than Ghostwaker, but they're all sketches, so if you want to see them, they're on my Patreon. Shameless plug. Anyway, so obviously this is a study for how Night Furies look specifically from the first movie, because as I've mentioned a few times now, a lot of times, I do not like how Night Furies end up getting redesigned over and over again as the movies progress. I really like how Toothless looks in the first film with his aerodynamic, sleek, cat-like design. He looked scary and cute and not overly anthropomorphized like he ends up being later on. So because I wanted this to look on point, I heavily referenced a lot of the screenshots from the movie as well as Gift of the Night Fury. Night Furies are kind of hard to draw. Like, I've mentioned this before as well. I just find them hard to draw. Like, I can draw them, I guess, but like, I'm kind of like pedantic about it. Is that the right word? Like, I'm really particular. I want it to look like the first movie. I want the shapes to be correct. And I don't do that with a lot of things necessarily. It's just that like, I want to make a point of it because like, and this is no like shade to people who do this, but like people who draw Night Furies, I always draw them like sort of looking like the third one or more squished at the front or like a mix, and I just want to make it obvious that it is the first movie. I guess that's kind of a me thing, but I just really like it, so I wanted to learn how to do it properly. However, of course, mixed with my own like design or art style, I mean. Like for instance, I don't draw the toes like mixed with the claws like how they do in the movies. I gave him like actual toes because it's just a stylistic thing, really. So this version of Toothless is also not only the same design-wise as the first movie, but I also scrap all the stupid as hell pointless extra abilities he gets, like the splitting spines, lightning powers, invisibility, and alpha mode. I already talked a bit about this in my previous video, so I won't repeat myself, but yeah. The other thing I wanted to change for Toothless was his personality, as in, again, make it more like the first movie and a bit of the second. You know, he's intelligent, elegant, and not easily intimidated, but he's also sarcastic, playful, and has a lot of sass. Not a stupid horny dog like he is in the third movie. I don't have much more to say about Toothless specifically. I'm just gonna yap a little bit before I move on to Ghostwaker because it's not up to that in the speed paint. I had some more ideas about How to Train Your Dragon 2 and because of How to Train Your Dragon 3. It's not like super in depth again. I'm just sort of like throwing ideas at a wall, I guess, for fun. But I've mentioned before Velka is like one of my favorite characters in the franchise, and I saw on her original concept art, or some of her original ideas, was that she was supposed to be an antagonist for the second movie. Not villain, antagonist, they're different things. So villain is more like, you know, Drago or something, and antagonist is more like they just don't agree with the main characters, or they're a block to the main characters for whatever reason. Doesn't mean they're like villainous. So I kind of like that idea, not because I don't think Velka works. I think she works the way she does. I think it's fine. If anything, the villain or like antagonist version of her needs probably some workshopping. But the reason I kind of like it, or like this idea, is because the second and third movie of How to Train Your Dragon are kind of like copy-paste the same thing, except the third movie is like shit because the morals of the story like flipped on its head like suddenly, and the designs got worse and the writing got worse and everything in general got worse except for probably some of the visuals and the music. So like, and I mean to say this similar because like of the villains. So you've got Drago in the second movie, okay, and it feels, the second movie very, very much feels like an end of the franchise thing because it's really dramatic. I mean, like, characters die, or Stoic dies, Toothless turns into Alpha freaking Godzilla, whatever, etc. It's, you know, a lot of shit happens in that movie. It feels a little bit packed, to be honest. And then then you have the third movie, and Grimmel's like exactly the same fucking thing as Drago. Like, Grimmel's supposed to be more deadly than Drago, which is hilarious because he's straight up not. Like, wow, he burns the village down. Oh my god, guys. Like, Drago almost destroyed their entire village, and he also had like a dragon army that was like friggin' way bigger than Grimmel's. So, no. And also, even if they were supposed to be different like that, it doesn't matter because the same thing happens at the end of both movies. Like, they defeat the villain and it's exactly the same. So Grimmel just feels like a rehash, to be completely honest. So because of that, and looking at the old concepts for How to Train Your Dragon 2, it seems like Velka was supposed to be like the antagonist of the second movie, and while in the background you had Drago like simmering, like he's building up as a villain, which like that functionally makes more sense. So then by the third movie, you'd have basically what you have in the second movie. Except with my whole headcanon, I'd probably replace it with Grimmel. I don't know. Like, you probably need to redo the villain entirely, make him more interesting. Like, Drago isn't terrible, but he's not like the most interesting villain. Like, he's kind of basic. Like, I don't know. I guess this is just some like food for thought. Oh, the other thing is like, I probably wouldn't have Stoic die in the second, then he'd probably die in the third one, which again, just gives more space. Like, just more space for things, because again, everything felt very, very crammed in the second movie, because you had like Velka and Drago, and then the moment friggin' Hiccup meets his long-lost mum again, his dad dies. It's like, what the hell? This is stupid. I still think it works, I pulled it off kind of okay, but like, I'm just noodling around, to be honest. So yeah, something like Velka being the antagonist of the second movie, and then in the third movie she sort of comes around at the start somewhere, and then like Drago / Grimmel or something comes up, and then you've got like the GHOSTWAKER thing. Okay, so now comes my beloved GHOSTWAKER. I forgot to start recording when I started lining her, so apologies for the time skip here. But anyways, yeah, albino Night Fury. Now, before you nerdy nerds come to correct me about the albino thing, it's fantasy. I switched to calling her leucistic in my previous video, and I still got people saying that didn't fully work either, or she could still be albino. I've done some research on it myself as well, so in conclusion, and as I originally intended, this is fantasy. She just has a condition that makes her lose pigment, call it whatever you like. I'm going to stick with albino because it's more well known. Now, I'm not saying this like with any hate for people who like are mentioning this, like I get it, if you like, you know, nerding out about this shit, but like I don't personally care. Like, as in, like whatever. So Ghost is larger than Toothless, she's bulkier than Toothless, she fights way more head on than Night Furies normally like to, and it also shows in her personality. She's aggressive, brutal, and very stubborn, but also easy to bait because she kind of dives into everything without thinking. She thinks with her teeth and claws. Ghost is also rather anxious and volatile. Grimmel doesn't treat her very nicely, and being used as a tool against her own species has probably done a number on her mental health. But she's doggedly loyal towards him even still because she feels he's all she has and that she owes him something because he saved her. It's like, you know, your classic sort of abusive relationship, especially where you have stuff like you know, Grimmel would have his, what the hell are they called? Death grippers. And, you know, any death gripper or any dragon or any other person who, like, threatens Ghost's, like, favorite spot, like, you know, Grimmel's favorite, she would become, like, really jealous over and stuff like that. So just, like, really toxic. In saying all this, for this AU, I've decided to also change how Grimmel looks. I don't like his canon design at all. He looks weird, his lips are all really dry looking. Like, this man needs to be dipped into a vat of Vaseline. So I had a look at his earlier concept art, and it's really friggin' cool. Why did they scrap this? Like, it gives Clergy vibes because of the robes. I don't know, I like it. So yeah, that's roughly what he looks like in this headcanon. Also still older than Hiccup though, probably in his 30s or 40s. Originally, I was going to give Ghost longer and larger features as compared to Toothless in general. You know, longer ear nubs, bigger wings, bigger claws, bigger body in general. But I decided to mix it up a bit. I went with really short ear nubs in the end because I just really like it and I think it looks adorable, to be honest. I think it also just matches the colours and in general vibe of this character. I still kept her torn ear nub from the previous design as well though. I also decided to have her squint like most of the time because it gave her a unique quirk, I guess, and also because her eyes are sensitive because albino. Also the pink nose, pink around her eyes and also around her claws. The other thing I did was make her head much more round than Toothless. If you squint hard enough, Ghost is actually an egg. You can probably see it on the profile view the most, but I also did it on the front view one as well. Her head isn't as wide as Toothless's is, and it's less square-like. Toothless has like a kind of square shape to the sides of his head when you look at him front on. I tried to also make Ghost's markings thinner and more striped than Toothless's are. I've also made a Toy House character page for GHOSTWAKER. If you want to see that, I'm gonna link it in the description. But yeah, anyways, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.